Back in 2016, when Trump was first elected, I was on the far left. This is back when I thought that left was right. I mean, correct. Or rather, I thought that being on the left was inherently superior than being on the right. Even before that election, I had been observing in myself a kind of what you might call self-righteousness. In other words, I was noticing some of the same psychological symptoms that I had experienced with religion. One of those symptoms was the superiority that I mentioned. There was also this hypocrisy, a certain kind of hypocrisy that I saw developing in myself it was like where we said on the left that we were very, very open and, obviously very liberal, yet it was the same kind of exclusive mindset that I had once experienced on the right in what I call the red church, conservatism. I noticed there was this other brand of self-righteousness on the left. And it wasn't out there in someone else, it was in me. The university or academia had replaced my church. The university was my blue church, red church, blue church, I church, you church. My rational mind, my academic mind was now trying to lord over my storytelling mind, but this outlaw poet just couldn't give up. that guy, he's 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 so tricky. My wife, it seemed to me, was suffering severely from this sense of superiority, and I believe that was because it was she who had been more fully indoctrinated into the academic church, the blue church, because she had passed through the formal initiation ceremonies by earning her master's and her PhD. I had an office in the music building from where I taught, but I wasn't required to participate in any of the politics of the academic environment, nor did I have to, project myself and my intellect like she did. I just got to teach and play. I love to share this stuff with you guys because not everybody's had the chance to be in as many different arenas as I have. The Lord's taken me on a really broad and expansive education journey. I got to be a cop, but just for 1 year to kind of understand what that feels like to wear a uniform in this arena where I wasn't really threatened and I really didn't have to hurt anyone bad either. But I did get to feel what it was like to take people to jail. And I knew, oh God, I don't want to do that. So I kind of got to do the same thing with academia, just kind of skirting that abyss. Today, I want to talk a little bit about ideologies. There were three main ideologies that I encountered in academia, which in the end were all devastating for me. Although I can't really regret having investigated them. It's kind of like going into the pit of hell and coming out with, a treasure or something, like retrieving your helm like Sandman or something, you know. So in academia, what I discovered was feminism, Marxism, and Darwinism. That being said, I still love bell hooks and Karl Marx and Charles Darwin. So don't get me wrong here yet. Don't assume you know where I'm going with this, okay? I was immersed in feminist culture. I loved my feminist friends. I'm not going to get it all out in this video, but I just want to let you know that. And Karl Marx, what a brilliant mind. I mean, he's got this analytical mind and he's just trying to figure things out. He's born into religion and he sees that something's not working there, and he has this criticism of capitalism, which is actually right on. And then he kind of comes up with another religion to fix that, and we know that didn't go well with communism, and it's all really interesting stuff and it's worth studying. Darwin, I love that brother. Still, when I read Darwin, I hear love and I see this human struggle in his struggle as he is trying to figure out what happened, and he's making his best scientific estimates. And it's just, It's beautiful stuff. So please don't get the wrong idea about where I'm going here once again. When I talk about this, it's like I encounter the joy of a father watching his children growing up. God the Father watching his children. I also want to talk about a little bit about conservatism and liberalism. Anytime you put an ism on the end of something, if it's an ism, it's unconscious somehow, and also it's not helpful. An ism in my world equates to religious blindness. Anytime we discover a new religion or a spiritual practice, we're enamored with it and we're generally brought into it by a culture. And that's what it was like at the university, or the university that I experienced. The university is where we seek that universal wisdom, like a Dickens character in a novel, seeking authentic knowledge. These are obviously deep subjects which books have been written about already. I, as a teacher, am really just trying to spark curiosity and kind of help you to know what I've seen and where I've come from. These are the connection points. Me and my ex-wife, we were running from the ignorance on the right, the conservatism, religious fundamentalism. We had seen something in that just wasn't sufficient, that wasn't Jesus, that wasn't helpful, that wasn't compassionate. And so we ran to the blue church from the red church, thinking, we've arrived, free at last, free at last. Here are the truly intelligent people. And looking back, oh my gosh, I was indoctrinated. And it was really ridiculous. Looking back on it, it's so similar to the self-righteousness that you might experience at a church. People who think they know that don't really know, very much like in the red church, in conservatism. We get the same thing in liberalism. So in 2016, when Trump was elected, and we just saw the left melting down into these immature rants of insanity, I stepped back and I was just going, "Oh, I'm not in that club." That's not my response. In other words, God had already done sufficient work in me to where I took that meltdown as my cue to abandon the isms, the ideologies. And I think when I started to see through feminism and how I had just demonized myself as a man, how I was trying to help my wife to feel safe and to feel secure. And I had been raised in an environment where I didn't really have the type of masculine energy that she really needed, that she deserved. We were both in this deep, long recovery process, trying to discover things in ourselves that had really never been nurtured in us as children. You know how it is. I mean, this is not a sad story, really. This is just what life is like, right? We were privileged to have the opportunity to experience what I'm talking about right now. Literally, I'm grateful to have this story to share with you. In my efforts to help her to be safe, this whole feminism journey that we went on, and me trying to crush the nuts of the great patriarch, it was like we just kind of fell apart because I could no longer submit myself to her as the leader figure in our home, which I had just kind of given up the reins. And also that's tied in with my illness too, with these migraine headaches and all the neurological fallout that goes with all of that. So this all of a sudden got really personal, but that's kind of what life is like, right? And that's what I think I have a gift to share. I'm going to continue this story in the next video or the next videos. I've been waiting for this stuff to start coming out. I've been dying, really just trying to stay alive because I knew that this part of my story needed to be told. And it's coming, and I'm grateful to be able to share it with you. There's no conclusion today. Kind of like life. May the Lord bless you and keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you peace.